Have you figured out, I know the big thing when it came to some of your explosive plays last season were just David and Akeem just shedding tackles. Have you found any guys that have kind of big playmaking ability in them?
Yeah, we think so. We're continuing to work on that, but we feel like we got some guys that can have the ability to make plays. And, I think we're just continuing trying to find ways to maneuver the football, to find ways to get those guys balls and, whatever the best scheme is to get those guys an opportunity to get the ball and get explosive plays.
What's Collins' injury doing for the offensive line shuffle, if that's what you want to call it?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we've been fortunate with was that Coach Myers and really Coach Campbell. I think Coach Campbell's been around offensive line long enough to know that you always work a lot of guys in a lot of positions, and so for us it's been I guess the luxury of it. Obviously it's terrible that Colin's still working through some things, but I think that the luxury of it is that we've played a lot of different guys in a lot of different spots. Really from the beginning of spring practice till now. So it's been good for us. I think that we have a little bit of flexibility in who can play what and where.
What would it be easier for you guys just to plug and place? I mean, like if Colin can't play, then you've got either whatever his name is, the backup, or you've got Trevor as to throw in a center, or you do move Julian over and shake up everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I don't know if ever replacing the starter is easy. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's like, hey, what's the best thing? And I think you're alluding to that each move is a domino effect in some capacity. So trying to find the best alternative with the least amount of effect, probably ripple, throughout the entire offensive line.
What's the challenge of Coach Campbell said, you have to focus on Epinesa 94, but if you spend too much time on doubling him or something, it leaves another good defensive end open. What's the balance of figuring that out?
To make it really hard, I think he's an elite pass rusher. I think he's an incredible player, but I think as you look back through the years, Iowa's always had great defensive lines as a whole, and I think a bunch of different guys have the ability to affect the quarterback and to ruin plays, and obviously he's one that can certainly do that. But I think at the other end, there's another guy that can certainly do that. So it certainly is it's a tall task, and it always is. I think with those guys, it's a really well-coached group of defensive linemen, but it's also a really well-coached defense. They do a great job, and fundamentals are phenomenal, and they play really, really hard.
Good Jones last year moved into center just for that one game. That was the first game, I guess, in the year. That kind of left you vulnerable, especially against Epinesa. Do you expect Julian to stay at left tackle no matter what happens to?
Yeah, there's a couple things that we can move some people around. So we're still battling through that a little bit and figure out the best starting five when it comes time.
When you look at their defense, I think they've shown three-man fronts before, but I think last week was mostly a 4-3. What do they look different than anyone else you play defensively? Stylistically, even.
No, I think the thing that they do the best is they do what they do really, really well. They have the ability to be multiple. They have the ability to pressure. They have the ability to drop in coverage, and they have the ability to play man coverage, and they play zone coverage. And I think when you look at a good defense, good defenses have the ability to do everything really well, and they certainly have the ability, whatever the situation may be. I think they have a good answer, and they do a great job knowing their answers and how do they stop whatever may have hurt them in the past or maybe might show up. They have an answer built in. They do a really good job.
Do you feel like now that you've kind of figured out some of that personnel and just seen how some of those guys perform under the lights that maybe you can do a little bit more offensively now?
Yeah, I think we'll continue to see what we have to do to continue to win football games, and that's obviously our goal. And whatever we feel we got to do to win a game, and that's what we're willing to do.
I think Coach Campbell said in the first half of that game, Brock maybe pressed a little bit, trying to make big plays, but then it seemed like he calmed down and took what the defense gave him. What did you think of what he did by the time the game was over?
Yeah, I think it really was a challenging at times. Going into a first game is difficult at times because you don't quite know what they're going to play, and they played a lot of drop eight, and they force you to take what what they give you, and yeah, you could say broad press it sometimes, but I think I also think I put them in some situations maybe that maybe weren't the most beneficial to make the correct decision. We'll continue to learn and grow and strive to get better every week.
What do you think about running backs?
I think they did a good job. Obviously we put one on the ground, which we can't do. But I thought those guys ran hard. We missed a few things, and a little bit of growth we got to continue to have there. But those guys have worked hard at getting better.
Iowa's first two opponents have tried to double team Ebenezer quite a bit, especially the first one. Do you anticipate that being part of your strategy, I guess, going into this?
Well, like you alluded to, it's certainly a challenge. It's like in any sport. If you double team one guy, there's going to be another guy that's not double teamed, or another guy that's free. So, I think for us is we just have to continue as the game goes on to be wary of what the situation is, and and how we're playing, and how our matchups are going, and then make decisions as we move forward.